Hello, beautiful souls. It is February 12th, 2023, and I have two things that I want to talk about today for today's video on healing disclosures. The first thing is why I'm wearing my Operation Underground Railroad t-shirt, bold and free, USA colors, flag. Today is the superb owl, and you may or may not know, if you're watching me, you're probably aware that on events such as today and for the whole week preceding these events, there's always a spike in human trafficking, sex trafficking, prostitution, RAPE, just lots of very, very nefarious activities. And so I want to lift up every single soul that is being sold as a commodity and send energy to those souls. We have not forgotten you. You absolutely are why many of us are doing what we're doing now. And we will not stop until we make a significant change for the better, for the greater good of our entire planet. And I also ask that anyone that feels it's in your highest and best good, that you do the same thing with your energy today. You choose to watch that event, that you protect your energy field, protect your higher self and your overall, you just protect yourself from the spell casting that happens with the commercials and the nefarious intent of the event itself. But I'm not judging anyone who wants to watch or share time with your friends or family, watching or whatever, to each their own free will choice. But I do honor those who have become enslaved because of those events and the horribleness that actually surrounds them. So please keep them in your thoughts. And if you feel inclined to do so, send them some energy. I know for myself and all of our crew, we are connected on a survivors grid, a New Earth leader grid, Lightworker grid. And so sending out that positive energy, putting that out there on the grid for people that are survivors, they can hold that into their being if it's out there. Okay, different topic. So I want to get everyone prepared for something that I didn't even realize was coming until a couple of weeks ago. On 2/23/23, so February 23rd, 2023, is what is known as the Lightworkers portal. And I'm going to read, so this is from a YouTuber named Carolyn Zeiser. So this is the Lightworker Gateway is an entrance point to a new place in time that Lightworkers are leading the rest of the collective to. Gateways lead to new higher timelines for the collective that is possible for Lightworkers efforts that have already been done. The journey is going to shift and change at that point. Crossing through the gateway will magnetize the Lightworkers' energy, making us more attractive to the frequencies. Our volume, our light will increase. Creatively expanding into the light of who you are and showing others the way. So I wanted to just kind of speak about that because I feel like, number one, it's kind of like our event, right? We are Lightworkers. We were put here to be New Earth leaders. We're put here to lead by example and show others the way. And right now there is a ton of false flag stuff happening. There's a ton of, everybody and their brother seeing UFOs and things that can't be identified. And then really and truly, you ask your higher self, this is either fake videos or I know it's videos I've actually seen on long ago episodes of Ancient Aliens. It's just they're using it as, to stir the chaos, to see where we can get each other to focus your energies instead of going within and knowing what is true and knowing what's really happening and kind of tuning into that. So I just want to speak about if we can focus our energy to the Lightworkers Gateway portal coming up on 2/23/23. So the angels and ascendant masters are sending loving energy to us, to Earth, and that's happening on a consistent basis, and everything's ramping up in regards to that. The galaxy is assisting and integrating the changes and the adjustments that we make now that we need to have in place to help us integrate and accept and make the most of that 2/23/23 event. So if we are preparing now, a week or so out, a couple weeks out, we can do the work ahead of time to where we can maximize the effect of the portal. So if you wait till the day of, there's some things that you could have done ahead of time. It's gonna be a little too late to do that. You can still, benefit from it. We're just trying to maximize the benefit, right? Most bang for our buck, so to speak. Old energies are going to release more friction. Human trauma is going to release after the gateway. So we're talking about a window of time, couple weeks before, couple weeks after, where if you can do some of that shadow work on this end, you're freeing up space to bring in positive change and a positive activation. And that positive activation, you're going to see purging of more old trauma. But, it comes off in layers. It's like a scab on a wound. And so you heal the top layer and you debride that off and you feel better for a time. And then the smaller, not as detrimental scab is what's left. And so then you have to go through the next phase of debriding that off and clearing that shadow off. That's how I interpret that information. So there's a tiny tear in the veil, and it's leaking through creative energy, intuitive energy, sensual energy, magical energy. And we just need to open ourselves up to that, right? Like, no longer are we in a vacuum of that's crazy, that doesn't exist, you don't know what you're talking about, that's just too woo-woo. We see and have seen way too much to not know at this point what really exists and what doesn't. So lightworkers feel that energy already, and some of us feel it more than others, and some feel it, but they're not sure why they're feeling it. They don't know what to do with it. They're like, is anyone else feeling this? Like, what does that mean? Is it good? Is it bad? Don't wait until the date, the 2/23 date, to really start digging deep into what those triggers are and why you're feeling what you're feeling. Like I said, the more you can process and make space within yourself for new energy, positive energy, things that will benefit you. You can only do that by working through, doing the shadow work and working through and purging out that old non-serving energy that suck, the negative energy in there. You got to get rid of that. So the more aligning that you can do now to source, the more you'll get from the portal. So it's kind of like if you want to, really, really fill my water bottle up, my water bottle's got water in it. So like right here. So I'm going to be able to get some, but I won't be able to get as much as if I go ahead and get rid of what's in here and then fill it up. So you want to get rid of what you have that you have to work through. If you come to the party on 2/23/23 and your soul is full of shadows that you haven't worked with and core wounds, and you get triggered every time anybody says anything, you're not going to really benefit as much as you would if you take the time on the front end, on the now end, in this now moment, to start working through those. And quite honestly, we are being triggered, and we as light workers are triggering others to do that work now, because we already know this. Like, it's coming from within. It's that push to do what we should do, whether we understand it or not. And this just aligns with that. Like, we've been pushed to do our shadow work because we know we have to make space to grow. And this is just affirmation. That's exactly why. We have to clear out all that junk. We have to go through the boxes. We have to clean out the closet of our trauma and our core wounds and all the disappointment that we've had and all the heartbreak and all the heartache, so that we can make room for the good stuff. So each light worker is going to receive a unique combination of those energies that I mentioned, based on how much they can accept at the time. I personally, speaking for myself alone, I want to get as much of those energies as possible. Like, I want to get as much creative, intuitive, sensual, magical energy that I can possibly withstand. So I'm serious about doing the shadow work on this end. And quite honestly, it's certainly easier to be like, yeah, don't think I'm going to deal with that heartache again today. But it doesn't really suit you. It doesn't serve you, because a day, a week, a month, a year down the road, it's still there, waving at you while you walk by, ignoring it. It's going to be there when you come back from doing what you're doing. It's going to be there until you deal with it. It's going to be there. So the energies that come in, it's going to take weeks to integrate and adjust to the upgrade. But be mindful that, like I've said before, we're kind of in school right now, right? This is our trial and error period, where we don't have a lot of consequences when we mess up. We just get, some of us might get our hand slapped or, whatever, but it's aha, I learned, I'm not going to do that again kind of a moment, right? So what we're really, really needing to work on, because what we're going to is 5D consciousness, high frequency, and being able to think of something and then it's going to manifest. So what we don't want to be thinking about is all the trauma, the monsters in our closet. Because if we're always thinking about the monsters in the closet, the monsters in the closet are going to be knocking on our door and saying, you think about me so much, here I am. I'm right here. I'm obviously what you focus on. So this is it. This is your life. I'm here with you forever, because you haven't dealt with it. So this is our time where we stop being the what if queen. Well, what if this happens? And what if this doesn't happen? And what if this happens? And what if this doesn't happen? Stop being the mind manipulative victim. I can't say it any other way. Stop that victim mentality and stop that non-deserving thinking of, well, that can't be for me because I haven't done this, and I can't be for me because I haven't worked 60 years, my whole life. It is for you. We are deserving. You can have exactly what you deserve right now, no matter where you are in your life or how old you are chronologically or any of that, because your soul has contracted it, and your soul has lived a lot of lives before coming here in this now moment. So everything that you are intended to have, you just need to accept it and stop being your own worst enemy. So that's where I say now is like our training ground. Okay. So in my crew, in my group, we check each other all the time. Sometimes there's a comment that gets posted on where it's obvious. I'm like, that's your matrix thinking coming back in. Like, that's your non-serving, non-beneficial, negative thinking. Someone or many someones in your life had made you believe that about yourself, and that's creeping back up. Let's deal with that. because you are handicapping your growth. So try your very, very best to not have negative thoughts. And if you catch yourself having negative thoughts, evaluate, is that negative thought coming in because it's something you need to deal with? Or is that negative thought coming in just because of old habits? And you just need to retrain your brain to not go there, to focus on positive things. And the way you focus on positive things is that you truly believe you're deserving of the positive, not the negative. Because unfortunately, we come from a place in time where many, many of us only believed that we were going to always have the negative crap happen to us time and time again, because that's what kept happening. But when we have pivoted now and we're headed down the path of light and the path of positivity in alignment with source, that should not be what is in your mind about your future. Your future should no longer be about what bad thing is going to happen to you or for you. It should be about the positive things that are in your path, because you're in alignment with source and you're doing literally source creator's work, God's work, and you are doing for others, and you have dealt with your shadows on the inside. So after the gateway portal, all the light workers' energetic bodies will radiate this signature light, which we do already, but that is going to be even more of a unique signature. This is a light that makes us more magnetic. That frequency that we have now, it's going to increase. So you're going to draw each other, or you're going to draw more people towards you, and stronger magnetic force, I would say. The inverse of that is those that are not in alignment with you and in alignment with source, it's going to be a stronger push. They're going to be even move even further away from you. And that, I want to stress, is something that you should not fight. Even if it's something that feels comfortable and it's something that you know, it's something that you thought you were going to have, even though it's not perfect, whatever the case may be. If it's not in your highest and best good and it starts to fall away from you, that is an out of alignment relationship, and you need to let it go. No matter who it is or what the situation is, you need to let it go. And that again can be triggering, and that again can develop a wound that you have to deal with, another shadow that you have to deal with, another scab that you needed to breed and allow to heal. But the influence, the energy influence, is going to have an exponential effect for us. So we're literally going to light the way for those that are not yet awake and are going to be more influenced by the light. And that is, I can speak for myself, my own experience in August, when I became fully activated and healed, and Source said, you're going to keep doing your biblical truth videos on YouTube. You're going to keep allowing your voice to be heard, because your voice delivers the frequency to your crew members. And those souls that know you from past lives they're going to find you that way. And I thought, okay. I mean, I believed, but who knew, right? And then I went back to the videos I had already made prior to that point, and I checked those people that had watched my videos and left comments, and man, 90% of them were crew. 90% of them were soul family. And I just thought, like, that was my first aha moment, like, wow, so that's how that works. And that's when I quickly realized, like, I really do kind of get the approval on the content that I put out from Source. I check and make sure this is where I need to be going and this is what I need to be covering. And then I usually get some feedback too, right? And but more importantly than that, I just need to be shared out. My voice needs to be heard, because it really doesn't matter what I say. I can be saying the alphabet, apparently, according to source. My frequency is felt through my voice. And so if someone just hears me, that is a soul connection, they'll be drawn to learn more. They'll be drawn to me, and then we, you know, usually end up uniting in Telegram. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's just a synchronicity that I've seen play out over and over and over again. That totally drives that home. So it's the effect for the people that haven't fully awakened yet is that they're going to become more conscious. Their consciousness is going to be rising, and they're going to start to have a lot of questions, and we need to be there for them. And I really want to stress this. I just threw out a shirt that said, I no longer want to be considered the conspiracy theorist. I now want to be referred to as the girl that knew everything and was right to begin with, like all along, or something like that. And that was really my mindset like a year ago. But now, knowing what I know, I don't feel that, and I don't want to portray that, and I really don't want any of us to portray that, because the last thing that a soul that is awakening and yearning for truth wants is to have that thrown back in their face. So I really don't want you to just be itching to be like, I told you so. That really should not be our stance, and it should not be anything that we say to someone who comes to us, because we are the light in the storm. Like, we are literally the lighthouse, the beacon that they will be drawn to give them refuge, to give them truth, to give them compassion, to give them kindness, to give them all the things that means that we have anchored Christ consciousness in our soul, and we not only believe it for ourselves, but we walk the walk, and we share that throughout the people that approach us and the people that we interact with, whether it is on social media or in person. That needs to be our tact. That needs to be our place. And if you really truly don't feel like you're there, then yeah, you're right. You have some work to do. You need to really, really get there. I am super apologetic and ask for forgiveness each time I find that I'm getting a little judgmental. Like, I don't have that happen much at all, but on occasion I feel that old part of me creeping back up, and I catch it, and I'm apologizing, and I don't apologize to source. I apologize to the person. I am sorry. I just caught myself being judgmental, and I should not be. And I think that is a huge obstacle. Like, we, as a people, we've become very judgmental of anything and everything. And what has it gotten us? Really, I mean, you just end up seeing these egos battle each other for the last word. And at the end of the day, everyone is broken down and torn apart, and their soul is just ripped, and it's not good. And it's exactly what the dark side wants us to do to each other. And then when you're doing that, you are just feeding them. They are loving it. So please, 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 please work on that if you feel that. So again, be mindful of your energy. The dark will also be more magnetized to us, because they can't produce anything. They can't produce the energy that we have. They can't produce the light. They can only steal it and copy it. So protect your energy. Don't take for granted that the people that have always been around you and have always been in your circle are good for you. That was like another big aha moment for me. Like, you really have to, for myself, I do it kind of like, on an as needed basis, and then like religiously when the month starts over again, I kind of go through my list of members and subscribers and people that I'm in contact with, and I just make sure that they're all still in alignment with source and I have a pure heart and are in my highest and best good. And if not, then I see where that takes me. And I see if we need to part ways or if there just needs to be, a conversation or whatever. But I don't just take for granted that the people that I knew were of the light in alignment with source creator and for my highest and best good 3 or 4 months ago are still that way. Unfortunately, things change too much. Like the pendulum is just swinging way too big right now for me to just take that for granted. So it's important that we conserve our energy and that we maintain the balance to protect our energy. So use your discernment. Decide how much and if you want to engage with people or places or entities that you encounter that maybe you have been encountering, you realize now that they've really been a soul suck, that they really just take it out of you. Once you recognize that, then you have that free will choice. You have that decision to make. Am I going to continue to do this because I don't want to be confrontational or because it's what I've always been doing and it just feels comfortable or it's expected of me? Or am I going to put myself, my energy, and my sovereignty first, take my power back, and put up a healthy boundary that I say, I've noticed over time that every time I engage in blah, 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 I come out of it feeling on par with the carpet, and you're light as a feather, and it's very unbalanced. And so I'm going to need to pull back from that so I can take care of my own energy. That's where that unapologetic boundary comes into place, because the more we set healthy boundaries for ourselves, our soul, our energy, our beings, our spaces, and then can unapologetically maintain those boundaries, the more power we keep, the more sovereignty we have, and the more in alignment with source we are. You will see that. Because it's not, I don't want anyone to say, well, that sounds pretty selfish. It's not. The thing is that we've been, especially empaths, like we've been totally brainwashed to think that we have to give. And that the more we give, the more that we're going to get. And that is not exactly how it works. Because we've seen in our life, people take, and they're not always so good about giving back, right? Well, if you don't stand up for yourself and protect your energy and say, this is taking everything from me, and at the end of the day, I have nothing left for me. And they go, yeah, I don't really understand that there's a problem there. There's a problem there. Okay. So you have to know, number one, what's good for you and what's not. And then you have to be strong enough to take your power back, maintain those boundaries, those healthy boundaries, and be unapologetic about it. Don't be like, I need to say no today. I'm sorry. I hear that all the time. People will, on 1 second, they're maintaining that boundary, and then the next thing they say is they're apologizing for maintaining the boundary. Just own it. You are enough. You are important enough. You deserve to be taken care of. And if you don't take care of yourself, why should anybody else? You have to love yourself enough to take care of you. You have to love your divinity, your sovereignty, and your power enough to protect it. If you don't protect it, no one else is going to protect it. We have to do some things for ourselves. And once we have that grounding and that foundation, you need to hold it. We work too hard for this. You have to maintain that. So again, light workers are exactly what it sounds like. We provide the light of source throughout the world. People will gravitate toward us because they are hungry for the light and they are missing that connection to source, and we are the bridge. So if you choose to share your power with people, you just want to know that there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a healthy, equitable, even energy exchange. Okay, what are you going to get in return for what you are giving? That meet in the middle thing, right? It's really, really important. So if you choose to share out your power, know that that positive power rippling through is going to help to change timelines for the better. So that really means like what I've been doing. I always use myself as an example because I never want to speak for anyone else. But from the time I became healed and activated, I have been sharing with my audience, whoever wanted to hear, had ears to hear and eyes to see, the benefit, the downfalls, the pitfalls, the this and the that, right? Of being activated, of being a sovereign being, of being a light worker. And so you can have a ability to make a choice, a free will choice based on truth and tangible information. To the best of my ability, that's what I strive to do. And my doing that, I have given and shared my power that I found with others because it's exciting and it's good and it's for the greater good. And that's all that my soul has ever really wanted to do. And so that really feeds me in return, because when I share and I see other people find their sovereignty and get healed and make that connection to source, and they are able to develop their own power and relationship, it's beautiful. There's no words that can really describe that. But at the same time, the more I do that, the more we shift in positive timelines in alignment with source, and we're shortening that transition time from 3D to 5D. And that's what we want, right? We want fifth dimension energy, and we want fifth dimension living, and we want new earth communities and spiritual centers and schools and healthcare and all of that on a higher timeline as quickly as possible, because that's when we see, less heartache, less death, less destruction, less of all the negative timeline. So I know that this is your individual journey, just like this is my individual journey. I just chose to share it with you on a very public platform. But it's one of self-love, and you nurture your light, and you know that the more that you heal yourself, the better you are for humanity, whether you actively say anything or not. You will exude a higher frequency, and that ripples through your energy field. And as you walk through life, you will positively affect the people around you. Those that are in alignment with source will be gravitated toward you. They will be magnetically drawn toward you. They will want to share in what you have. They will want to know your secret, and you will share it. Those that are not in alignment with source will see you as a repellent. They will not be able to get away from you fast enough. And you need to take that as a clear sign to definitely make that boundary a hard stop. Now, I will tell you that source is all-knowing, and the sacred geometry of our lives, we don't know. We do not know all of it because we can't. But some people that are or were not of the light, or not necessarily good for you in your past, they may come back up because source has worked on them and they've done some work. And now they're in alignment with source, and now they're back in your line of sight, and they're back in your timeline. And for me, I can tell you, I just did a video about that. It caused me to have to do some more shadow work, because I was like, oh no, I've been there, done that. I'm not doing that again. That was my judgment moment. And I had to go, wait a minute. First of all, there's no such thing as coincidences. If someone from your past is coming back up, source is putting them in your purview, it's for a reason. either you have more work to do, which I did, or the situation has changed and they're now in alignment with source and on the mission with you. And that's where I had my work that I needed to do. I needed to accept that. It wasn't my decision. It's handled in a different dimension, handled by source creator. It's not up to me to decide. All I needed to do was come to terms with accepting it and get over my judgment of who they were in the past. Because like I said in that video, I'm asking for people to see me today in this now moment where I've come from doing all the work, and accept that I have come through and I'm a better person today than I was yesterday or last year or 10 years ago. The same needs to be given, the same consideration needs to be given for people in my past that were not good. And now they're back in my purview. I have to acknowledge that they also had work to do and they've done the work, or else God would not have put them in front of me. Source creator would not have given them access to me again. And so it's an evolution. You know, like I say, I've said many, many times, ascension is not a checklist and it's not a place on the map. It's a consciousness. It's a level of consciousness, and it is a place where you get to where you are non-judgmental. You have oneness and unity, conscious thinking, and you are full of compassion and empathy and kindness and love for your brothers and sisters on this planet. And it's kind of hard to do that whenever you see a physical being that was so crappy to you before, and like you went through the shadow work of dealing with that trauma that was caused with your energy exchange with them at the time, but now they're different and now you're different. And what's going to happen now is on a completely different timeline. And so I say that to say there are no hard and fast rules to this. There's no like, okay, if I do this today, then that's not going to happen to me tomorrow. Because as soon as you think that you have the plan up here, you don't. You're going to be reminded that you are not the plan maker. Okay. We are light workers. We are here to help shine the light so that darkness can no longer exist. There will still be shadows. We still have to work through the shadows. We work through the shadows through the light of source creator guiding us. And so then when we find our way, we help bring others along behind us. And that's the mission. And that's the mission, not just for myself, but a lot of people. So I hope that you can prepare for 2/23/23. I don't know yet if I'm going to do something online that day. I have to see. I kind of feel in my soul that I want to, but I'm not sure what it's going to look like. So I just wanted to put this information out there early on. So if you've kind of been on the fence about, being a light worker, or what your role is, or what you're really supposed to be doing, I feel like this could be a good catalyst for you, especially in this moment in time on the planet, because the energies are really in your favor to do this, and to really dive into it and to see the fruits of your labor and to see a definite upswing to positive changing that timeline. So 2/23/23 Lightworker Gateway Portal. I hope you guys can prepare, and I hope you use some energy for defeating human trafficking, because there's no place in New Earth for that. Thank you guys for joining me today, and I will see you next time.